The words hip and hep first appeared in the 1940s and were used to describe those who were great fans of jazz music. As this social group increased in numbers, they were referred to as hipsters. Hipsters rejected social norms because they were bored with the conventional lifestyle of mainstream society. They were mostly lower-class white youth who wanted to distinguish themselves from the upper class. They would refer to each other as hepcats and spent most of their time smoking pot and appreciating jazz music. Hipsters today have evolved into a more diverse group whose characteristics cover a broader scope of idiosyncrasies. The modern hipster is defined as someone who wears thrift shop and vintage clothing and listens to music from past decades rather than modern music. They eat organic food, are technology savvy, and profess a strong desire to protect the environment. Typically, they shun the term hipster. In this diverse mainstream, can we really put labels on people because of their characteristics and fashion sense? Or are people just trying to be themselves? To answer this, we talked to two girls who could be considered hipsters.
I'm Tate and I study fine arts drama.
And I'm Ashley and I study a Bachelor of Entertainment Industries.
Do you guys know what a hipster is?
I feel like they're grunge people who hang out at coffee shops, have beards,
Listens to vinyl.
Would you consider yourselves hipsters?
No.
I wouldn't consider myself a hipster.
I understand if people would call me more indie than hipster because I feel like indie is a bit more
Upbeat if it's
yeah.
like that.
But I don't consider myself a hipster.
But for me, I'm just a person who knows what I like to wear and I know what I like to listen to and I know what I like to eat. But on the outside, I guess people looking at us think that, oh, they're hipster. On the inside, I'm like, no, not really. Just have a taste, I guess.
Because we are twins, like, people see us as one entity, and it's like, if we can do something to be seen as different, then we would.
To determine whether there is a negative connotation around the word hipsters, we look to the everyday students of QUT.
I would define a hipster as someone who's pretty fashionable.
A sense of fashion that's probably alternative compared to the mainstream theme.
I find them annoying.
Like alternative.
The epitome of like a 21st century university student.
Would you consider yourself a hipster?
I'd hope not.
Not at all.
No.
Not really.
Why do you think there are negative connotations around the word hipster?
People trying a little bit too hard, a bit too much false confidence, and that it tends to be a little bit narrow.
Sort of narcissistic.
Some hipsters probably think that they're like superior in a way.
Do you think it's still a subculture or is it becoming mainstream?
Definitely more mainstream. It's like just another fashion.
They're everywhere.
You see a lot of people around universities who sort of fit the description of a hipster.
I think it started as a personality, that there were people out there that were just naturally clever and geeky and a little bit odd, and now that's become something that's an actual trend.
Hipsters have developed many negative ideologies such as being pretentious, overly trendy and over-refined. However, are these the characteristics of these people or are these just the stereotypes that we place on who we consider hipster? Do you think in this society where everyone is now being themselves, dressing how they like, that it's probably better if we didn't have these sort of labels like hipsters?
The essence of a hipster or indie or whatever is individualism.
They don't want to be labelled.
They don't want categorization because otherwise it just defeats the purpose of being yourself.
Do you think that there will always be labels like this?
Yeah. There will always be a majority and there will always be a minority.
It's just human nature. You have to categorize something because if the brain can't compute if it doesn't know what it is.
To gain a greater understanding of the subject, I've decided to speak to Campus Life Coordinator Lee Pabst. Do you think that hipsters, once a subculture, has now moved in to be the mainstream culture?
There are lots of elements that mainstream are picking up on. Wearing glasses and growing beards and riding fixie bikes has been around for a while, and it was quite exclusive. Now there are lots of groups picking up on those things that were kind of exclusive and cool, quite rare or unique, and taking those into their own and adapting them. And so in a way, some of those elements are becoming quite mainstream.
One of the characteristics of a hipster is that they don't self-identify with being a hipster. Why do you think this is?
I think for a lot of people, identifying as a particular culture is something that is very strong and is very much tied to their values. A lot of those hipster elements come from appropriating what's come before. It's hard for people to take them on and really embed them in their sense of identity and who they are. And maybe that's one of the reasons why hipsters don't want to take on that label.
Hipsters have evolved into a more diverse group whose characteristics and behaviours cover a broader scope of idiosyncrasies. Today, anyone could be considered a hipster. However, perhaps hipsters, like many other cultures, is simply a label that we put on the evolution of trends. By labelling them, we as a society are putting preconceived ideas on those individuals who are simply trying to be themselves.